What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Hang 10. Me and Chris Reckling here, everybody. We're hanging out, jamming in the Wavy Plus studio where we always hang out and have a good time. Chris Reckling's here, everybody.
What's up, everybody?
Hampton Road Show.
What's up, everybody?
All around gnarly dude.
Gnarly dude.
So you got to tell me, because when I first came here, I thought that Jeff was one of the only waterman surfers here, because at my previous station, there wasn't many surfers around.
Right.
But then everybody was like, "Oh, you got to talk to Chris. Chris is like the guy when it comes to surfing."
At Wavy.
Yeah, right.
Before Jeff and before Steve.
So you got to tell me, when did you start? When was your
surfing?
Yeah.
Take
me back.
I will take you back. It's really cool. So I was like 13 years old, and we were staying at Sandbridge. And as a little kid, I saw an old longboard in the garbage, and the tail was cut off. The tail end was cut off. And I grabbed that surfboard, and I took it out in the water, and I paddled out and caught some waves. And I still have scars on my feet today from the fiberglass.
Really?
When I got up, the fiberglass was cutting my feet.
Because it was cutting you up.
Because
the end.
The tail was cut.
Got
off.
it.
They took a saw to it. And so, I mean, I came out of the water. My feet were bleeding. I still have scars on my feet today, and I was stoked. I was hooked when I was 13. And then when I was that Christmas, I got a surfboard for Christmas.
When we got to talk about this surfboard, you sent me a couple of these images, and the boards are sweet.
Okay, so this is okay. I'm going to show my age. Okay, so this goes back to 1970. I want to say 75 when I got the board on the right. So I got it for Christmas.
And that's the white one in the picture.
That's the white one. It's a Hobie, and it's a classic board. And I surfed on it for several years, and then I sold it to a friend, and I got the board on the left off the rack at WRV. And I still have both boards today.
I have the pictures too.
And so I'm so stoked about it because the board on the right, okay, I had it refurbished. So I gave it to a friend. I sold it to a friend. I taught a bunch of people how to surf on it, and I gave it to a friend. And then like 20 years ago, I asked him, I said, "Hey, do you still have that board?" And he said, "I still have it." And I got it back from him, and it was in really bad shape. So another friend refurbished it. So that's it on the right. So I still have that. And I was so stoked to get it back. It was like, oh, my first board. Like, it's kind of like if you had your first car.
It means something to you, for sure.
It means something tremendously to me. And then a couple years ago, that board on the left, I got off the rack in WRV in like 1977, 78. Off the rack when WRV was on Norfolk Avenue, and the old WRV. Walked in, and back in that time, everyone was riding these pintails. Yeah. Because everything was coming out of Hawaii. Right. And all these things were like Hawaii. Everyone was riding pintails. They went from transition from longboard to shorter board.
This was that age where
we weren't into the small short boards. And I got that board off the rack. And then a couple years later, I sold it. And then 2 years ago, I saw it on Facebook Marketplace, and I knew right away that was my board.
This is the craziest thing, too. Like the full circle moment.
Full circle moment. And so I saw it on Facebook Marketplace. I said, "That's my board."
Yeah.
And so it was, the guy wanted X amount of money, and I was like, "I'm not paying that. I'm not doing that." And I went down to North Carolina where it was, and when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my God, I'll give you $1,000 for it."
Right. The moment you saw it,
I'll pay anything for it. He gave me a deal on it. I got it back, and I was beaming for months afterwards because of my first two surfboards. They're still together with me today, and I'm like, I still have a boardroom, and I still an avid surfer. I mean, it's so cool. Not too many people can say that they have their first surfboard.
I still have my first surfboard. The only difference between mine and yours is that I grew up kind of in the age of soft tops where they started to explode.
Not quite the same.
No.
Not quite.
Not at all. My first surfboard was, I forget what the brand was called. All I remember is it had like a hurricane eye looking thing in the center of the board. It was red, 7 foot.
Right.
And we got a 7 foot because my dad grew up surfing a little bit. He did it in his teenage years, and then he was a United States Marine, so he stopped surfing forever until I wanted to learn how to surf. And he was like, "All right, let's do this the right way." At the time, I was playing other sports, wasn't really, too passionate about. I liked playing baseball, wasn't as passionate about it as, you would expect someone to be. Like, I would, have fun at the games, practice would come along and it's like, I just want to go hang out at the beach. So we got into surfing, and obviously I took off from there, haven't looked back since. But back then, for at least me, we had these soft tops. My dad wanted me to get soft tops because he did a little bit of research and he was like, oh, this is the easiest to learn on. They're stable under your feet. They're safe. So that's kind of how I started. But these are like, these boards classics. For you, these are classics. The one on the left, you mentioned with the pintail, that is a Hawaii, like you're riding that thing at pipe.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that because that board, that exact same board shape and color, that same year, Jeff Hackman, there's a picture in Surfer magazine of Jeff Hackman going backside at pipe, and he's dropping in on that same looking
board,
orange with maroon rails. And it's the same thing. And so shapers they were pretty smart at the time. They were like, you know, that was in the magazine, that picture was everywhere. And so they just
recreated the board.
They recreated the board. And I saw
they knew it would sell.
And here's the thing. I went to Virginia Tech. It's orange and maroon.
Right.
And that's what I knew when I saw it. I was like, that's my board.
That's your board,
and sure enough, same fin. And back then, we didn't have leash plugs.
Right.
So what we did was we drilled holes in the fin, and then we would tie the leash onto the fin. And same fin, same everything. It's got a couple little dings in the nose, and it's got a little ding in the bottom. But it hasn't been in the water. Like whoever bought it from me never used it. But yeah, and I still have that picture. I'll share that picture with you of Hackman, and you'll see it, and you'll go like, oh my God, it's the same board.
Right. That's great. So you got to tell me how it felt kind of learning it. You know, this is the beginning years of your surfing. How was it learning? Because that seems like a board that may be challenging to maybe ride around here where the waves are a little bit flatter. You got to go to the Outer Banks on a big day to really, I feel like, use that board to its fullest potential.
It didn't work that great.
Right.
It really didn't. But, you know, the first board, though, which was a little bit more of a fun board kind of shape. It came from California, and it's shaped by Munoz. I forgot, but a really popular, legendary shaper shaped it. And it was a very forgiving board.
Right.
It was like maybe 8.2 or something like that. A little bit of wide nose. Heavy.
Easy to catch some waves.
Easy to catch waves. Heavy. The first time I took it out, so I got it for Christmas, but I didn't get a wetsuit.
Right.
And I was like, ugh. So I couldn't use it until it warmed up. And my first time was in the Outer Banks, and it was on a chest high day. And you know, it took a while to get used to it. But once I figured it out, I was stoked. And then we transitioned to the pintail.
Yeah.
It didn't work well at all.
Right. You need a very specific kind of way for that.
Yeah, it just didn't work well. And then, but thankfully in a couple of years, boards got shorter, faster, and that's when surfing sort of took off.
Yeah, those shorter boards.
Transition time.
Of course, the sport evolving over time.
And if you look back, that's the pintail, that was right around 78, 79. If you look back in the day, everyone was riding those same boards. I mean, and it's like, you know, but it was slowly getting shorter.
I feel like I saw them always in like the Jerry Lopez surf documentaries.
Yeah,
going
Lightning
back
Bolt,
to
Roy
the North
Russell,
Shore, they were all
that.
cruising. You know, like they're standing up, soul arching on those things on really steep waves. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, but I mean, look how beautiful those boards are, right? I mean,
so awesome.
The one on the right's been reconditioned. I wish it still looked like its original shape when I had it, but it was in such bad shape. But now it's on the wall, and then the other one's in the corner. And and I mean, don't think I don't look at it and go, yeah, I remember when I got that. You know.
Is there ever a little like, kind of want to take it back out?
Well, you know what?
Here and there.
Well, here's the thing. There was a paddle out last year for Paul West, and I wanted to take it out for that, just because at a paddle out, you know, take a classic board out there for a soul moment. But it just had, you know, it had a little ding in the nose, and it had places where water would get in.
Right.
So I don't know if I want to get them fixed,
because it doesn't take much to get the water in there. Kind of ruins it.
I just like the way it is right now, and yeah, I could paddle out on it.
Right.
I think it's fine, and it would be fun, and I wished, and I kind of would like to do it.
Be a bit nostalgic too.
No, I'm just not. I mean, and maybe if it's a paddle out for something special.
Of course. Well, cool stuff here. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna pick your brain a little bit more on your surfing, and
I love it.
Coming up a little bit later, we're going to talk about some really cool events coming up over the next really several weeks for Virginia Beach and into the Outer Banks. A whole lot of surf stuff coming, so stick around. So we'll be right back. All right, everybody, we're back. Me and Chris Reckling just kind of hanging out here talking some surf. How long has it been now of your surfing?
It's interesting you say that. So, I mean, I'm just going to date myself. I'm in my 50th year of surfing. I mean, I'm 5 decades of surfing.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't stopped since I was that first time I took that board out and cut my feet up. I've been hooked ever since. I played college football and baseball.
Yeah.
But my passion has always been surfing.
Nothing ever.
Like anybody else who's addicted to surfing.
Of course.
And
you get the bug.
I think about it daily. I mean, my TV is Samsung. I turn on the TV and the surf channel's on.
That's how I live. Yeah.
I mean, you know, my phone is full of pictures and videos of surfing. I mean,
your life kind of revolves around it. My first thing waking up is I check the waves. Whether it's going to the beach.
Know.
Yeah, whether it's going to the beach or checking
I already
the cam.
know, but yeah, it's important to check it. Yeah,
of course,
because it changes. But Virginia Beach is so predictable.
Oh, that's for sure. I'd say so. Outer Banks could be a little bit.
You never know.
A little bit more fickle. You never know because it could be 2 feet at 7 seconds. You go there and it's like stomach high and kind of reeling.
You never know.
You never know. So let's take that. What are you on now? What are you surfing now? We got some pictures here. Are you still ripping, just crushing it here? We'll pull them up.
So my surfing has changed a little bit through the years, and I like
a WRV board.
Yeah, that's an older picture on a longboard. So, and that's at the lighthouse actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So Hatteras.
Small day. Here's the thing. I like longboards now. They're more forgiving for me. I have shoulder issues right now. I have arthritis in both shoulders. So paddling on a shorter board is tougher. And I've always liked the glide of a bigger board. I will drop down to 710.
Yeah.
On a bigger day
just to kind of glide
with a barrel.
Yeah,
because I'll take my longboard out in the biggest waves, but
it's tough to get into them.
It's hard to get out.
Oh, I mean,
paddling out on a bigger board is more of a challenge. But I prefer the glide of a longboard. But every now and then when it's in the Outer Banks when it gets heavy,
which it does often each year,
it's heavy, and you got to have a little extra. You got to have a little more in and out because I don't want to break my board.
Definitely not. Boards are expensive these days.
I know. I've broken a few over the years, and always on hurricane swells and stuff like that.
Anything, anything heavy. I remember I broke my first board probably 2020. It was the first hurricane. I forget what name it was. First hurricane swell of the year. Really shallow sandbar. Kind of took off on a wave. Maybe I didn't need to. Was just thinking, I'm just going to try and pack this close out. Just snapped in half. Just felt it buckle too.
Yeah. First one I broke was in Nags Head on Hurricane Gabrielle, and it was one of the most beautiful days I've ever seen. It was picture perfect.
Offshore wind.
Offshore and 4 or 5 foot overhead and just reeling. And it was just, and went out and just got in and
smoked.
And that was it. And I sat on the beach with a camera and took pictures.
So you only had one board with you.
I only did, but that was in the afternoon though. So I got a good morning session, and then
you got your fix.
Yeah, but that's right. That's Frisco right there.
This is Frisco.
Small day in Frisco, which is always kind of fun. And
you say small day there, but honestly, I think we'd kill for anything like that over the past few weeks here.
I know. Trust me. I mean, I don't know. I just you're a big guy.
Yeah.
So, and I'm a big guy. You want bigger waves,
of course.
And so, waist high.
Speed is your friend.
Waist high is fun. Chest high is a little more fun. Overhead,
totally.
That's what we want.
That's where we're charging.
And so we're always going for bigger surf, and you can find it here, and it's further south, and it's coming, man, and you know that.
I know it is. Yeah.
August. Look, when we turn August, it's like, okay, we're getting ready to hit the button to turn on.
It's always like depending on the August you get, but a lot of times it's that second half of August, and then really from September 1st until sometimes mid-October. You're multiple times a week where it is properly going off, at least on the Outer Banks, maybe Virginia Beach here and there. But even then, it's like you have actually consistent swell where you're, I would say, able to surf pretty much on every day.
Yeah.
Given there's going to be some fluctuations in the conditions.
Yeah. But surfing around here is frustrating, as you know.
Surfing around here is, it can tend to be, especially recently with how, can you remember a summer?
Just surfing is frustrating. Right. I mean, you people always say, "Oh, it's beautiful out. Are you going surfing?" You're like, "No, it's beautiful out.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Give us a storm."
Yeah.
That, and then, maybe you go out and you're with a bunch of people, maybe you're just learning and you're struggling, we need waves. Surfing can be frustrating.
We need waves.
But it's also, it can be gratifying and satisfying and thrilling. And that's what, once the better you get, the more exciting you get with it.
It's a sport though. You really need some patience.
You
need big time
and
patience.
just, pay your dues. So, and, you know, in this TV business, you know, you've come to Hampton Roads and you're stoked because you can get to the Outer Banks. My first job in TV out of Wavy, I was an intern at Wavy. My first job was in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Also a great area to surf.
Yeah. And so the first time I went down there, I set up my interview around a tropical storm, went down with a tropical storm off the coast, did my interview, and then went straight to the beach, and then looked at the beach, and it was big and choppy and gnarly. And a couple of guys were there, and I said, "Hey, where's the best place to surf?" And he said, "Oh, we're getting ready to go over to Masonboro."
Masonboro, I heard, is so much fun.
Yeah. And I said, "Really, Masonboro?" Like, yeah, you want to go with us? I said, "Sure."
You have to boat there, right?
Well, you can paddle across the inlet. So we paddled across the inlet. I'd never been there before. Paddled across the inlet, went to Masonboro, and it was offshore, and it was chest to head high and clean and fun. And so that was, you know, my first gig was in Wilmington and then came back. But, you know, getting to the Outer Banks, it's kind of just like a ceiling in there in Wilmington. It only gets but so big. And it's a little frustrating because you want a little bit more, and it takes forever to get to the Outer Banks from there.
There's a lot of
you gotta go around.
You got to go around. Yeah, it's a couple of hours. I know I started my career in Savannah, Georgia, Tybee Island in Georgia, Waves in Georgia, as small as it gets on the East Coast. There's levels to surfing on the East Coast. The Outer Banks is the pinnacle. It's the top. Savannah, Georgia, Tybee Island, and really up towards Folly Beach, Charleston area maybe is a little bit better. But even then, it's small.
It's so flat.
It doesn't get higher than shoulder high. Even on like the biggest of storms sitting right off the coastline. The coast is
There's
a sponge.
the frustrating part.
It is frustrating. I did get a lot of surf time in. I definitely won't lie. I certainly had my fun out there. Small surf community that's really passionate down there too. Like
everywhere.
They love it.
Everywhere you go.
They're so stoked on it though. But I do remember I was doing live shots, my first job in Savannah, and there was they had the double red flags up. That doesn't happen often in the summertime.
Double red flags.
In Savannah, waves are like 2 to 3 foot. But that's a big deal. In the summertime, that's a big deal when the beaches are packed. So they had the double red flags waving.
Double red flags.
Nobody was allowed to step foot in the water except for the surfers. Do my live shot, paddle out for 30 minutes to 45 minutes, do my next live shot, came back in for another 30 to 45 minutes, and then wrapped up, went back out for the whole rest of the day.
How about this story? I was working as a photographer here at Wavy in the early 90s, and there was a hurricane that came across the Outer Banks. Hurricane Bob, I think it was, flew down in Chopper 10. Chris, we're sending you down there. I flew down in Chopper 10, just me, flew in to Frisco Airport, and as I landed, the governor of North Carolina came up to me and said, "Hey, you want to go on a tour?" I was like, "Yeah." So I went on a tour, went to a trailer that had like 7 or 8 pine trees that had fallen across it.
Yeah.
A woman comes out the door crying, and the governor puts his arms around the woman and says, "We're going to take care of you." Had a great scoop. And then I made my way over to Natural Art, and Scott Busby loaned me a board, and I paddled out at the first groin at the lighthouse and got destroyed.
It was big. I'm guessing.
It was gnarly.
With the hurricane.
Super gnarly. It was all A-frame peaks that were just
boom, just
and
bombing.
I was just getting launched. I came in and said, "Today's not a good day."
Not a great day.
And if you said double red flags, it was quadruple red flags.
Oh yeah, for the Outer Banks, it was
there was nobody out.
No,
and, I was young and dumb.
They were raising the hurricane flags at that point.
But I flew down in a chopper.
You did.
Chopper
That's
10.
the ultimate. Hey, speaking of surf trips, because that's an ultimate surf trip, going down to the Outer Banks in a chopper. What's the coolest place you've ever been? Before we take a quick break, I want to hear your coolest surf excursion.
2 weeks in a tree house in Panama.
How were the waves there?
Oh, Catalina. It was great.
Great.
Yeah, in a tree house with no running water, no electricity.
Is there a lot of variability in their surf? Like, is beach breaks, point breaks, reef breaks?
It was all a rock reef break.
Oh, okay.
And then there was another breakdown. It was a point break and a reef break. It's called Catalina, and stayed there for 2 weeks, and it was amazing. That was a good one. I've had a really good one in Cabo, early 90s on zippers. Of course, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, California, Mexico. Had some really good surf strips in Mexico. My favorite, though, is Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Because it's so close.
Of course.
And it's big, and the water's warm and clear, and just
beautiful.
I like the waves there. Wilderness is great.
Wilderness, I hear a lot of good things about. And Maria's, too.
My first trip, we stayed on Maria's.
I hear Maria's probably the more popular People who have been there probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
Actually, the other side of the other coast is much more bigger and more consistent. Maria's, it has to wrap around. It's right next to domes, and it's fun because it's a long wave.
Totally.
But and when it's good, it's really good. But the other side, wilderness
catches it a little bit bigger.
Catches a little bit bigger, and that's where the cleanup sets, the closeout sets, and all. So,
got it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But thanks for asking, because I'm overdue for a good surf.
You got to get on one.
Yeah.
My last one was El Salvador 2 years ago, and I'm itching to go back for more.
Point break, the right point.
Punta Mango, Las Flores, right point breaks. It was awesome. I'm itching to go back. Really cool stuff. When we come back from this quick break, we're going to talk about some of the events coming up in Virginia Beach and the Outer Banks over the next few weeks. So stay tuned. All right, everybody, we're back. We're going to wrap this up with talking about some really fun events going on over the next few weeks.
ECSC, anybody? Is that what you're talking about?
That's coming up the August 17th to 24th at the First Street Jetty in Virginia Beach. That's probably that's the biggest one of the year around here, I'm sure.
Yeah,
right?
It's the end of summer beach party. It changes every year. It's always different. My first recollections of that was my aunt took me to it when I was about 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
And it was at the wooden pier. And I remember seeing guys on surfboards, and I was like, wow, blown away. And then years later, I found that board and got started.
850 plus competitors.
Yeah,
come to town.
And it's always a questionable time of year for surf, and
you never know what you're going to get.
And I've covered that event for decades, and there was a string there for the longest time where they had really good surf.
Yeah.
But the last couple of years, it's been
a little slow.
It's been a little slow, but these pros don't need much.
They don't. Of course, they don't. They're pros for a reason. They can do it on anything.
They don't need much, and it's just a fun time, and it's a great end of year party. Love it.
So ECSC, the oldest continually running surf contest in the world. That's crazy, and that's right here in Virginia Beach.
The other one used to be in Australia, and then COVID sort of shut that down.
Shut it down. So yeah, ECSC still going strong.
JCs, shout out to the JCs.
There you go.
They make it happen.
It's a week-long celebration of beach, not just surfing, beach culture. There's obviously the surf contest, which kind of headlines it all, but there's skate, BMX, live music, whole lot of fun stuff. So even if you're not a surfer, looking for something to do, August 17th through the 24th at the First Street Jetty in Virginia Beach. Yeah. Whole lot of fun. We've also got the WRV Outer Banks Pro, Nags Head, August 25th to the 31st.
It's usually it's always the weekend after, but it's always but it's usually a little bit later.
I thought it was going to be September. I looked and it was August.
Yeah, but that's just interesting. It seems like it's a little earlier this year. But they usually have good surf for that. But
they usually do.
You just never know.
I have actually seen they stream it live on the WSL, I believe, YouTube page and World Surf League. And I think a couple of years ago it was 6 to 8 foot offshore, perfect, like the whole contest too. So. Really cool to get there. That contest does typically have some really good surf. Jeanette's Pier, milepost 16.5. If you're headed kind of down to check it out, just head to the Jeanette's Pier, August 25th to the 31st. You'll be able to find it. It's a QS event for the World Surf League. So the World Surf League has 3 kind of brackets. You have the QS, the Challenger Series, and then the CT, Championship Tour. The Championship Tour, essentially the MLB or the NFL of surfing.
Right.
You want to get to that main stage.
Minor leagues.
Exactly. It's that 3-tiered system. QS event, still pros ripping in it. Everybody knows what they're doing. You work your way up the ladder. So those are 2 really big contests coming up over the next, I'd say, month or so. So check those out. Hey, if you're a surfer. And I think for ECSC, is there an open division? I think there might be an open division that you can, not for the pro, but I think even amateur. I'm not sure if they have
open division. Well, what they have is they have like mini hooney boys, junior men's, legends, seniors.
Yep.
They've got a million.
So they have everything.
They've got a little bit of everything. As far as an open, I don't know.
I'll have to do some more digging. I'll get back to everybody on that.
Both boys and girls.
So. I know because the Steel Pier Classic, they have a division where anyone can sign up, so that's always cool. But I don't know how these ones work because they are they're at least for the WRV Outer Banks Pro. That's a pro QS event, so you probably need to either get invitation or be on the circuit for it. I'll get back to everybody on that. But those are just kind of the dates again. ECSC, that's August 17th and 24th, and then WRV Outer Banks Pro in Nags Head, the 25th through the 31st of August. Want to wrap it up with Surfers Healing, Virginia Beach Camp.
I love that.
August 15th and 16th. It'll be the 19th year that Virginia Beach hosts the Surfers.
What is the date on that?
So the 15th and 16th for this year.
Yeah, it's when they take the kids with autism surfing.
It's a great event.
And Dorian Paskowitz, that is the founder of it. I love it. That's a great event.
Yeah, we did. When I was a lifeguard in New Jersey, we had something called Best Day. And it was something similar to this. It was always the most fun day of the year because all those kids were so stoked to just, even if they didn't want to surf, just be in the water, just hang out with you. So really cool event there that I think if you're trying to check some stuff out, bring some positivity, that's a great event. Maybe get involved too. I'm sure they can use a lot of help. Put that stuff on.
Surfers Healing. It's good stuff.
Great stuff. So yeah, those are just kind of a list of the upcoming events over the next few weeks. Hopefully everybody's able to get down for some of those.
You know what we say about the ECSC is the day after the event, the surf turns on.
Yeah, it always gets good, right? Hey, that's good for us free surfers though, because we don't have to worry about them shutting down the beach.
Well, I don't know. I don't surf at First Street Jetty.
No?
Actually, when I first started surfing, I would take the bus. We had a bus that would take you to the beach with your surfboards and bikes. It's called the Sunshine Special, and I would get dropped off at the jetty. And that was when the steel pier was actually still there.
Okay, so was that break a little better maybe?
It was maybe a little better, but whatever.
Right.
But they were tearing it down, and then one summer there were still like metal pilings still out in the water and marked, and we were surfing around. It was kind of crazy.
Cool stuff.
But yeah, I mean, just keep it, like you said, keep an eye on the water at all times.
Of course, keep an eye on the water. Keep an eye on those flyers at your local surf shops to see kind of cool things coming to town. That's just a couple that I've got. I'll make sure to keep everybody updated. If more start popping up, we're heading into the we're starting to, at least in the next month, head into the peak of hurricane season where waves might finally start to happen. Maybe it's been so flat that I can't even remember when an actual wave broke in Virginia Beach.
I surfed a couple of days ago. I mean, there was a little south swell coming in.
That's all it takes sometimes.
And this time of year when the wind is down and it's low and the tides are just right, and
get a little wind out.
A little perfect. And if you have a big enough board, you can ride them all the way to the beach.
Hey man, you'll catch me out on my longboard doing that for sure.
So do you still have your soft top or do you have a longboard? Of course. You got
soft top.
Soft top?
Easy to get into them. It's a cheat code.
I know, but
it's a cheat code.
I just can't turn it. Saturday I surfed Friday. I surfed Friday. Friday on my board had a blast, and then Saturday I surfed with a buddy on his soft top, and it just wouldn't connect.
I surf soft tops so much that it's like just put your back foot as far back, just
run to the front,
lean into it, and then boom, you're doing turns. Hey, that's all we got. Thanks, Chris, for joining me. This was fun.
Let's do it again, B-Mish.
We'll do it again. We'll share some more surf stories. I got a million ton of them, so we'll have Chris back on, I'm sure, sometime soon.
Sure, man.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And, this has been Hang 10. We'll see you next week.